People are finally getting the opportunity to watch Supergirl in theaters, and a lot of people are kind of coming out with a mixed perception on the movie. A lot of people are saying it's really, really bad, a lot of people are saying it's mid, and there are some people here and there who are actually saying that this is a good movie overall. And as someone who did watch it early the day before it comes out, I do have an opinion on this movie, and I'm going to tell you guys if you guys should go see this in the theaters or not, and if it is really any good, or if the common consensus about this movie is right, that it's just mid overall. First of all, I have to say I will be getting into spoilers in this video, but it'll probably be a little bit later on, but they will be sprinkled through the video just a little bit. But if you don't want to hear at all about anything in the movie, then you should probably just click off now and revisit it sometime in the future. But first of all, for really the positives of the movie, I do think that the characters are really, really good. Contrary to the popular opinion, I actually do like the villain as well. And some people, I've heard them complain about how he's just really a one-dimensional character and he's just comically villainous. And he doesn't really have a big backstory, he's not a deep character or anything. And let me remind you guys, the same movie that you praised last year, Superman, had an even more one-dimensional villain. That being Lex Luthor, who did not have a deep backstory at all. He was just simply a villainous person. That was his entire character. But Krem overall, to be completely honest, in my opinion, he's even more interesting than Lex Luthor. And yeah, once again, it's just so ridiculous to me that people will just totally switch their mind on these things and then go back and say the Superman was so much better than this movie. But also the rest of the characters, specifically Supergirl, I think that she shined so much. Millie Alcock did such a great job portraying Kara in its adaptation, and not only that, but the character overall is written very, very well. And you can probably skip like 20 seconds in the future if you don't want to hear the spoiler. But something that I really, really liked about this character, that's a small detail that I haven't really heard anyone talk about yet, is at the very end of the movie, Ruthie is about to kill Krem and exact her revenge for her family getting murdered by Krem. Supergirl stops her and says revenge will not take your pain away and instructs her to leave. But then right after this, Kara takes it into her own hands and stabs Krem once in the stomach and then once in the throat. And I really, really like how this portrays both their characters because it really draws out a picture of how Ruthie is still this innocent, pure child and committing this revenge will honestly just haunt her for the rest of her life. But then it also portrays how Kara, as Supergirl, already sees herself as kind of impure and so she can exact that revenge. Which was a really, really cool detail in the movie for me. One of the coolest parts of the entire movie to me. And it was just an obvious, like, really interesting thing to see for their characters. And yeah. And also by the end of the movie, you do see a lot of character development from these guys. Of course, Ruthie is no longer wanting revenge on Krem. But then at the same time, Supergirl no longer wants to drink. And she wants to kind of not be as rude. You know, she just wants to be a better person overall and kind of help out. And be more like Clark Kent. And we even see her moving back to Earth and Metropolis to go help out down there. And of course, Jason Momoa as Lobo too is absolutely hilarious. He lights up the screen. He shines in every single scene that he's in. It's so interesting to see him, and he is just hilarious. The banter with the other characters is great, and overall, he is such a good character. And not only the humor with Lobo is really, really good in my opinion, but overall, the entire humor in the movie actually did pretty well for me. I thought a lot of the jokes landed like the classic MCU jokes, and overall, compared to the popular opinion, I think that the humor was very, very good in this movie, and honestly, better than most superhero movies out there. It really shined in that department for me. Now, moving on from characters, the actual plot of the story has been getting a lot of criticism as well, and quite honestly, I don't see why. I mean, yes, I do understand how it's not a very advanced and kind of just a plot that we have seen before. Kind of just that revenge plot. But I do think that it's kind of unique to see in superhero movies. Like, it's not the most common type of plot that you can really have. I'm sure you've seen a ton of action movies like it, but for a superhero movie to dive into that revenge aspect and, you know, we have to chase this villain and find him for something. I honestly thought it was pretty unique. I thought the story overall was good. It was really interesting, and it was also interesting to hear about Ruthie's journey. Nice to hear Supergirl's backstory. Overall, really, really great stuff in the plot, in my opinion. And then you also have the action, which is a positive in my book too. But a note here, kind of a negative, like, the first like half of the movie was kind of lacking in the action department. Because sure, we did have some here and there, but some of it was, you know, drunken Kara, and so she was kind of just sloppily moving around, and she really did not harness her full potential until the very end of the movie, which was a very interesting choice in my opinion. But once again, it really aided with that character development. Really, this doesn't function as a movie that's part of the Supergirl story. It's really the beginning of the Supergirl story. I could see sequels coming out if this movie does do good, because really, this is the beginning. While Superman kind of felt more like it was a continued version of Clark Kent's story, even though we hadn't, you know, had a beginning to it, you know. But it really felt like Superman was already well on his journey, but Supergirl, she's just starting hers now. which I thought was really, really interesting to delve into as well. Visuals in this movie were also really good. I just wish that the color palette was a little bit more, visually stunning like Superman from 2025. It kind of just stuck to the same color palette, which honestly, the colors that they chose were not bad. It was like a blue, orange, yellowish, which I honestly don't hate. It definitely reminds me of Guardians quite a bit. Overall, not bad. I think that there's so many positives with the movie that people just fail to mention, and a lot of the positives that I listed off were actually a lot of people's negatives, which is interesting. But then going into the negatives of this film, because there are a few that I do want to list off, and these are going to sound a little bit nitpicky, but like I said before, the action in about the first, actually I'd say like 2/3 of the movie, Kara really does not harness her full potential with her powers, and you don't see a lot of stunning action like you did once again with Superman. And I hate to keep comparing it to that, but it's really hard not to when they're pretty much like interconnected films, and it kind of causes the action to be a little bit less fun than it could be. You have Supergirl with a bunch of Kryptonian powers, which are really, really cool, laser eyes, super strength, stuff like that, but she really doesn't use it a lot. There's really one fight in the middle with Lobo involved, and they're fighting like Krem in like the middle of that like town area. Like, that was a cool fight. Supergirl did use her powers quite a bit there, but that's really the only one aside from the very end fight where you really get to see Supergirl harness her full potential. And even in that fight that I just listed in the middle of the town, she really wasn't using her entire power. So yeah, that was a little bit underwhelming for me. I wish that we got a little bit more of that. But I do understand the character side of things. I do understand how, development-wise, it makes a lot of sense for Kara's character. Then, yeah, also, as I said, the color palette was a little bit lacking. In my mind, they kind of just showed the same, like, 5 colors. It felt like all of the lighting just stayed the exact same throughout the whole film. The set designs for the specific planets were a little bit underwhelming to me. I wish that they were a little bit more diverse. They kind of just, they felt really, really similar every single time. And maybe it was because the planets that Krem and his crew wanted to go to were just all like similar to each other, but I don't know. They were just all, I just wish that there was a little bit more to it. I think adding some Earth in there too would have been great as well, just to like kind of makes things a little bit more diverse in the story and where they're going and the settings and stuff like that. Like, I think would be good. Honestly, I cannot think of anything else right now, but I bet if you guys can tell me down in the comments what you thought of the movie, what your personal nitpicks are, I could definitely respond to those. I could address some of those. Maybe it'll change my mind about how good this movie really is. But right now, I'm standing on my opinion. It's the final verdict. How good is Supergirl actually, and is it any good in the first place? Well, first of all, I want to come out and say I understand that so many people dislike this film, and there are some valid concerns. I understand thinking that the plot could be a little bit less generic. I just don't look at that way personally, but I understand that criticism. I think there are probably some other criticism out there that people are probably talking about that they don't like about the film, but I honestly haven't seen a lot of other valid criticisms beside that. But coming out of the theater, also I'm going to compare it to Superman again, but I really was just as satisfied with Superman as I was with Supergirl. And to be completely honest, I loved Superman. Now, I don't know if Supergirl is exactly as good of a film as Superman was. I don't know if I would consider it that, but I am almost, but they are pretty much almost at the exact same level for me personally. I think they are very close to identical with their quality. Besides, I think some parts of Superman are a little bit better, specifically the action, and I think that the story is slightly better. But quite honestly, I think that this is a really, really fun and good watch. It has great character development in my mind, very cohesive story for the most part, a very good soundtrack, great lineup of characters, and the acting in this film is great as well. Action is also good. Like, this film really has the recipe for everything that makes a good movie, and I think it mostly really delivered on all of those things. So now it's time for my rating out of 10. I've seen a lot of people rating it 6s, 5s, 7s. I'm going to go even higher. I'm going to rate this movie an 8 out of 10. While I think that there aren't enough positives to bring it up to that 9 or 10 spot or even 8.5, I think that this is a good movie overall, and I completely recommend going to the theater to watch it. It was completely worth my time, and it's quite honestly one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Now, it's probably in my top 7 or so, maybe. Not higher than that. Like, it's not like rivaling like Project Hail Mary. It's not like that level, but it's a very good movie. I like it. Now, if you have seen the film, please tell me about what you thought about it down in the comments below. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. But yeah, I'm going to say that I definitely enjoy Supergirl, and it is worth watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to always stay notified on the next time the Supervision uploads. Thank you guys so much for watching.